Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Excel Today. We are coming from you live from San Francisco or the Bay Area. David's actually in San Francisco. I'm up in Concord. Uh, no Joe today. He's in Ibiza as usual, doing his thing out there. Hopefully, he's having a great time. He messaged me late yesterday that he wouldn't be able to make it, but we have David Casuto here today. He's been doing the Adobe videos that we've been having running for quite a while now. So, really excited to have him here today. And you guys can put a face to the instructor. He's done the Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, the cybersecurity class, and just the Acrobat class Pro that had a great premiere. So I'm really happy to have him here today, and really happy that you guys can put a face to the voice. And today we're going to be doing Excel checklists. And so we do want to start, though, as always, with our mugs. David, I know I told you about this, so I'll ask you first. What mug do you have today?
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are. So good to be here, and big shoes to fill from Joe. So Joe, hope you're dancing your big shoes off wherever you are in Ibiza. So my mug is not my favorite mug necessarily, but it is quite possibly not only the oldest mug that I own, but it is also quite possibly the oldest possession that I own. And you can see it says my name on it. It says I'm a cowboy. And I think I got this when I was 5 years old, and in 19 at Great Adventure Six Flags in New Jersey. When my big sister was going on a big roller coaster ride and I was too scared to go, my parents were like, you know what? We're going to make you a cowboy because cowboys are tough. So here we are. And I still have this, like, believe it or not, like how many places that I've lived, this is the one true possession that has followed me everywhere. So cheers.
Nice. That's great. Yeah, but your actually has a great story. Mine is just a mug I bought at a gift shop, but just a red one from Oklahoma.
As I like it. I like it.
I've had so many shows, so I'm running low on the.
You're running low, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. If I come back next time, I'll be drinking out of a plastic Dixie cup. So
yeah. Well, before we jump into anything real quick, I just want to give you guys some channel updates. We still have a ton of content upcoming. We have a huge backlog that we're getting edited and edited. We're trying to up the training video release date up to 2 training videos a week. We're almost there to where we have a big enough backlog to where we can start doing that. So we don't, run out of stuff to keep giving you guys. We're recording tons of stuff. I just had just a small announcement. David is going to start the Adobe Premiere Pro series for us soon. Just asked him yesterday, and he agreed to start working on that. So you guys can look forward to that coming to the channel soon. And that's about it channel-wise. Next week, we are going to have Brian Lanier. He's going to be talking about diversity and inclusion. So that'll be Joe should be back for that one. So that'll be me, Joe, and Brian Lanier. That should be a great show as well. It's a little bit different from what we normally do here at Excel Today. We mainly focus on software. But and then we're still trying to do a 200,000K event. I know we're like at 220,000 subscribers now, but we will have a special event for you guys for that one for sure. It's just trying to get a day where we can have all the instructors free to come in and answer all your questions live. So we will have that upcoming. And again, also just let us know if there's any software or training programs or anything like that you guys want us to look at. We do train on a ton of stuff, and we do have insights onto what's actually happening, but it's best to ask you guys what programs you guys would like to see. That's how we got the Adobe Premiere Pro video going. We saw a lot of comments and a lot of requests for it. So, we do fulfill those requests. If you guys have software or anything like that you need to be trained on in the office place, just let us know and we will get those videos up and running for you guys. Oh yeah. And one last thing. I've talked about this a lot. Learnit Anytime, which is our ad-free system, our ad-free video service. This is for our patrons, especially the silver and gold. We're going to be launching a new version of that on September 7th. It's fully updated. It's going to be way more modern looking. And then certificates completion will be automatic in there. So you won't have to email us for those. So that'll be a major change, but we'll be emailing you guys soon about when that's going to happen. Currently, the launch date is on September 7th for that. And we just finished it up. We're polishing it right now, and it looks amazing. So I really look forward to giving that to our patrons. But without further ado, let's jump into this. David, we talked about this yesterday, but you said you wanted to show everyone Excel checklists is something that you had a personal interest in.
Yeah, absolutely. Checklist is something that a lot of my clients, a lot of my students say, you can do this in Google Sheets. Why can't you do it so easily inside of Excel? It's like, yeah, really, like, why is this so hard? This is a paid program. Why can't we do this? So what I'm going to show you in a little bit is, number one, how to do it, but how to incorporate a number of different other Excel features, including conditional formatting and also the filter formula. Okay, so you can see how we can have a little more interactivity, a little more sort of visual feedback. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take control, Ben, if you don't mind. I'm going to share my screen, and then we'll get going there.
This is very timely because a lot of people are currently Google Sheets made a lot of jumps. So a lot of people are now looking like, hey, should we use Google Sheets or Excel?
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely a big jump because I think a lot of people are going from, the Google workspace interface all the way to the 365. So people are like, hey, listen, I want to try to do the same things. So let me just first give you a demo of what we're going to create so you can see what to look forward to. And then we're going to do it ourselves. All right. So hopefully you can all see my mouse here. Everybody can see my screen. Ben, we're good. Okay. And you'll be able to see me doing this as well.
Yep.
Okay. Excellent. Good. So you can see here, I've got this amazing bucket list. And when you want to meet the Dalai Lama, I want to scuba in Fiji. I want to do all these wonderful things. And last but certainly not least, I want to learn Excel checklists. So I have these little check boxes here, okay? And they're all interactive. So guess what happens when I am complete with one of these? I click on this box and you'll see two things magically, maybe even three things magically happen. I get a little checkbox. This gets crossed out and I get a little bit of a different color. I get a nice little background color. And also, if you notice, as I click on these, my list that's on the right-hand side goes away. You can see, bam, bam. And then finally, look at that. Amazing. Bucket list complete. Okay, so we're going to learn how to do that. All right, we're going to learn how to create these check boxes. We're going to learn how to create it so we have this conditional formatting that's connected to it. And then we're going to learn how to do this filtering to make it so we can see, right, if you have a big list, what's left. Okay, so it's going to be very informative for you. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. I have this other tab down here. It's going to allow us to now build off of this. And of course, we'll share this with the group. We'll put this in the chat down below. You'll be able to see that. Now, the first thing we'll need to do is to get what's called the developer tab. Maybe some of you have seen the developer tab when you're working with macros, right? Or maybe some of these other interactive elements where you need to have the developer tab available up on top here. So easiest way to get there is to simply right click anywhere on there. And we're just going to say, customize the ribbon. And we do that, and we're going to see we have all of these little ribbon tabs that we normally see, and we just need to add on the developer tab. So you can see there it is, developer. Now, by the way, if you're on the Mac, you will need to go over to the Excel menu up in the upper left, go to preferences, and then there should be an option for developer tab right there at the bottom. There should be a little checkbox, so you can add on the developer tab that same exact way. So bam, I click OK. And now you will see I have the developer tab sitting right there, ready to start developing. So when I click on that, you're going to see a whole bunch of crazy things, right? They don't really seem to be Excel related, okay, but we're about to make it be. But some of you may see some things that are familiar, like all your macro stuff right here, if you're familiar with that. What we're going to do now is we're going to simply just draw out some text boxes to bring these in and then put in some text around that. So if I click on my little drop down over here where it says insert, you'll see I have all kinds of different what we call form controls. And very simply, we're just going to click on this little checkbox, form control. And then my mouse turns into this little crosshair. So I'm just going to draw it out. Okay, so I'm going to draw it out kind of like from here to about here. And it's kind of important what I'm doing here, how I'm doing it, because I want to leave a little bit of room at the edge of the cell. So I'm not going so far that I can't select the cell. You're going to see that's going to be important in just a second. So I let go, and then bam, I have a checkbox there. Okay, great. And it even gives me some type, right, that I could change. Okay, just automatically by default, it says checkbox. Now I want to change that. So very easily, I'm just going to right click on that. I'm going to say edit text, and then I'm just going to delete that. And then let's just say done, just like that. I'm going to click away. And now you can see there it is. Okay, pretty cool. Excellent. Happy with that. Now, Believe it or not, I can use autofill to make it have that exact same checkbox go down to the rest of these. So what I'm going to do is not select on this, because notice this is an element right here. I'm going to go over here to my cell, which is different than this. There's actually two objects happening simultaneously. And maybe you've seen this before. This is my autofill handle. I'm going to use that to then just, oops, let me go ahead and just turn something on. Turn that off with my last exercise. Give me 1 second. If yours is not turned on, we need to enable the fill handle. There we go. So I just click and drag down and bam, there you have it. Okay. So even though it doesn't appear to be like text or content in the cell, Excel reads it that way. So I can actually do an autofill to come down. Okay. Excellent. Now, we're on our way. Maybe for some of you, this is really all you want. You just want to have checkboxes and then you're done, right? Maybe you're not too keen or it's not necessary for you to actually have any of that conditional formatting. And then you can just simply click and then bam, you say, okay, that's done. And that's it, okay? But we're going to go a step further. We're going to go into our format controls to basically start creating more of this interactivity. So if I right click on this, you're going to see there's this option for format control. All right, I click on that. I'm going to get a number of tabs here. And really the only one that we need to focus on is this control tab right here. And what we're going to focus on here is the cell link. All right, and let me just demonstrate for you and you're going to see why this is important. So I want to make it, just for our demonstration purposes right now, I want to make it so when I click on this, I get the feedback that this has been checked on a particular cell. So all I'm going to do is simply click here to tell it that. I click OK. All right. And then when I click on this, I want you to notice it is now saying true. See that? And I click away, click back on there. It says false. Okay. Not necessarily what I want, but what my purpose for you right now is to understand is that when you click on these, you are getting some type of message that this has been checked or not. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just uncheck that, get rid of it. I'm going to show you how we can now do what we did before to set ourselves up for the conditional formatting. All right, so let's do that one more time. I'm going to right click on this and say format controls. Now, in a little bit, I'm also going to show you a nice little keyboard shortcut that we can do rather than having to right click every time. But for right now, let's go ahead and right click on there. And also understand that I'm right clicking on the box itself, not on the cell. So I choose that. And then this time, instead of doing it on this cell, I'm actually going to do it on the same cell where I have my checkbox. All right. So very simply, I click in here and then make sure you click on that little bit of room that I talked about before, not here, but right there. And then it should just link up to, in my case, C2. Okay. I click OK. And then watch what happens now when I click on this. It's going to be right there in the body of the same cell. And that's going to be a little bit weird for you. Like, well, that doesn't read at all. Okay. But trust me, this is exactly what we want to do. And but we're going to fix that in just a second. Okay. It says false, etc. Now, what we might want to do here is also use the keyboard shortcut. Earlier, we talked about right clicking. What we're going to do now is just select the box, right? And if you hold on the control key, you select it, it actually isolates it. And the keyboard shortcut is going to be, I'm going to type this out for you, just control plus the number 1. That's it. And that brings up format controls. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. We're going to do that. This part's going to take about 30 seconds or so. So we're going to go ahead and click on that, control 1. Okay, oops, so I have to turn off Zoom it. Sorry, hold on 1 second. I'm competing with myself here. So so control 1 happens to be the same function as Zoom it, Ben. So I'm going to have to do the right click on this. So those of you who are not using Zoom it, okay, so I'm just going to right click on it. Okay, so very good. And we'll just go through this. Again, take about 30 seconds, one by one. It shouldn't take very long. Just click in here. And maybe some of you are like more of the mouse interface anyway. Okay, so click away, click back to here, right click. And this little bit of work can go a long way for all of these, right? And then maybe some of you are making a template based off of this. So therefore, you just have this done one place at one time, and then you save this as a template, and you'll never have to do this again. So again, right clicking.
And then also just a quick, while you're doing that, David, everyone feel free to ask any questions on Excel and Adobe. David is an Adobe master. Like he seems to know every program backwards and forwards. So you can also drop those questions in the chat as well. We will try to get as many as we can. Just no promises that we're going to answer all of them. But if we don't get to any of them, you can always go to offsite and ask those questions, and they will be answered within 2 business days there.
Awesome. Good. Thank you. All right. So now let's just see what's going to happen. So I click, and you see it says true, or it's going to say false, right? So for every single one of these. Now, obviously, I don't want that. So here is the fun part. Here is the one kind of like rub in terms of what we want to do to make it so these things are not actually showing, but they're still going to factor in to, guess what? The conditional formatting that we talked about before. And we'll give you a little review on what conditional formatting is in just a second. So I'm just going to highlight all my content here. And ultimately, what this is selecting is the text that's inside of here, right? Not the little object that we put in there. So I want to make this white so it doesn't show. That's really all I'm going to do. It's still there, but it's going to be masked. It's going to be invisible. So I click on the Home tab. I go over here to my font color, click on the drop down, and I'm just going to choose that. And it's still there, but I just can't see it. Okay, so now let's see this in action. All right, let's now watch how we can actually create it when somebody clicks on that checkbox, bam, and it says true or false or whatever. We want it to do the thing we want it to do. Okay, so conditional formatting, if you're not familiar with it, if you think about the term, it's conditional formatting, right? Based off of a certain condition or a certain criteria, we want to format it, right? We want to make it look a certain way, okay? And maybe you've seen this for a variety of different things with numbers, with dates, with even particular words, okay? And we're going to actually do one that's a formula related to a formula here, okay? So you can see here when, right, let me just come back to here so we can actually see, right? When this says true, we want this to get crossed out, okay? That's all we're doing there, okay? So let's go ahead and just turn that off. So I'm going to highlight all the content that I want to have conditionally formatted. And I'm going to go over to my conditional formatting options here. I go over to here, conditional formatting. I'm just going to say new rule. And the type of rule I'm going to do is going to be based off of a formula. Sounds a lot more fancy than it really is, okay? But this is how Excel is going to read it. Okay, so I'm going to use formula. So I choose that. And then very simply here, format values where this formula is true. Okay, so there's that word again, true. So all I'm really concerned about here is to say, hey, listen, when blah is true, then do X, Y, and Z, right? And that X, Y, and Z is going to be formatting essentially, right? So what's my condition? If this is true, okay? Now you'll notice that I have this as C2, and this is an absolute reference. Now this is not going to work for me as is, because an absolute reference is going to say only for C2, okay? I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is something called a mixed reference. So some of you may be familiar with absolute references in the keyboard shortcut. If I do F4 a couple of times, this is going to make it so only the column gets locked, becomes absolute, but the row numbers are relative. So it'll go C2, C3, C4. Okay, so this is essentially what we want to do to make it so all of these kind of spill down forward. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go to format. And now I've already done my condition. Let's do our format. So I'm going to do a strike through. I'm going to do, let's just say a fill color, nice, like pretty peach color there. Okay. And then let's come back to font. And then I'm going to make that kind of just gray. Okay. So it's going to be kind of grayed out in the back. It's going to be grayed out the text. There's going to be a strike through it. And the background is going to be orange. Okay. Pretty cool. So I click OK, click OK. And now let's watch it in action. What amazing. Click. Yep. Oh my God, I'm getting so much done. Love that. Love that. Love that. Very cool. Awesome. Can barely read it. So you know what? Let's go ahead and go back and fix that. Conditional formatting. Let's go to manage the rules. I'm going to go over here to this worksheet to show it. And then I can edit this rule to make it so, hey, listen, let's go ahead and edit this rule and go back to my format to say, hey, listen, you know what? This could be a little bit darker. Okay, so let's make that a little bit darker so I can actually see it. Okay. And then let's hit apply. So I can actually, okay, great. Now I can commit to it. That's much better. And let's just see it again. On, off, on, off. Really, really slick. Okay. So it gives me that power, right? It makes me feel like I've accomplished something. Okay. And this is all interactive, right? Pretty cool, pretty extraordinary, in my opinion. Okay. So again, that's combining our format controls with a checkbox. And then understand what we did here. We put in the true false inside of the same cell of where the checkbox is in that conditional format related to what was on there to say if it's true or false, then apply the format. Okay. But the key thing is if it is showing up there, make sure you can bring it in as white so it becomes invisible. Okay. Now, the other thing that we did was this what's left. Okay. If you remember that. Okay. So how do we do that? Okay, so this is going to be potentially a little bit more advanced for some of you. This is going to be a formula, okay, called the filter formula. Maybe some of you have done filtering before, okay, but this is actually going to be a filter formula. So if I just do =FIL, and then a nice little pro tip is if I hit tab right now, that'll actually finish it for me. It capitalizes it, puts in an open parentheses. Fantastic. And it's going to ask me for a few things here. What's my array? Okay. And that's essentially just looking at my checklist, right? So I'm just kind of going from left to right. So I'm going to go from here. And then my right part is going to be, okay, just include all of these. Notice I'm grabbing from the right side of here. Good. But now what I need to say is that include need to have the word false there. Okay. Because the false is the opposite of the true. Okay, I know that sounds very obvious, but that's basically saying that's what's left. Okay, it's what's not checked out. All right, so very good. And then I have this kind of important one. So this is one you don't want to forget because you might get an error message if you don't do this part. I have this if empty. So what do you want to say here when I have like everything checked off, right? So you can see here, I'm going to say done, good job. Okay, great. Close it out. And look at that. Done, good job. But now let's reverse it. Let's see it in action. Very good. And now let's see. Met the Dalai Lama yesterday. We had some tea. All right, very good. Okay, now I'm a whiz at guitar. Okay, meditated 3 times today. Okay, went to Iceland. And now I think I just did this, didn't I? And look at that. Done, good job. Okay, and then you'll see that the last thing I did here was I kind of made that turn into a different color after I finished it. And that ultimately, I'll just show you here, was also a conditional format. You can see that. So I can actually make it. So this is a conditional format. So it shows up in a nice, happy, bright color to celebrate everything I've done. So let's just go ahead and finish it off doing that. I select my cell, which is G2, conditional formatting. I'm going to say new rule. Okay. And then we're going to see here, actually, let's do it a different way. Let's do maybe a little bit easier way. Let's say highlight cells rules. And we could say text that contains. Okay. And I'm just going to say none. Okay. Just like that. Good. I'm just giving a little bit of a hint of what it is. And I'm going to choose one of these here. That looks pretty good, right? Just has the word done in there. Great. And then when I click away, that goes away. When I finish it, that comes right back with my words and also the formatting that I've chosen through the conditional format. And that's how you do it. From beginning to
Mind blown, David. Mind blown. I do a lot of data entry here at Learnit, and every time I have someone on, they show some tool or something like that I could have used back then to make my life a lot easier. So I could have done this for. We just switched over to a new TMS, and just marking down what we have done and everything like that. Like I immediately see, places that I could have used this tool all over the place because everyone uses Excel. Like a lot of project management people will end up using Excel to track a lot of stuff. And this is a great way to be able to mark it completed and, find out what's left. It's almost kind of like a mini, what you call it? Like they call it like I know Trello does their little Trello boards, but it's very similar to like making that in Excel. So it's kind of exciting to see that.
Yeah. And it's totally scalable too, because all of these things in my bucket list can be anything, right? You can make this, save this as a template, and then you just keep using this. This is my checklist template. And then I just keep changing the objects that I want to actually check off. and maybe I'm collaborating with people as you're suggesting,
Mhm.
and then bam, these things just change all the time. And it's going to save you having to do all that stuff we did on the front end.
Yeah.
So
Great.
great.
Yeah. Well, we do have a few extra minutes. I wanted to ask the viewers if you guys have any questions or anything like that, like any quick ones that we might be able to answer, as we have a couple minutes here. But if not, I did want to. I forgot to ask this in the beginning. David, you want to maybe introduce yourself a little bit and tell the
Oh,
viewers? No worries, I got that. Um, just a little bit about yourself.
oh yeah.
You've been doing a lot of videos for us, and like I said, I've been very happy with every video you've produced. So just let our learners, I guess, know a little bit more about you.
Yeah, excellent. Right. So I do training on lots of different topics. So a lot of the Adobe suite. Have you seen Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign? Soon to be Premiere. I think we may have one cooking up for Lightroom as well.
Yes,
That
true.
could be in the
That'll
queue.
be coming soon.
Be coming soon. Excellent. And then all of Office. So psych teaching all these things with Learnit. Teaching Excel, teaching PowerPoint, teaching Word. I love teaching like more than anything in the world. I just feel like I love giving the gift of knowledge to people, right? I mean, I swear I could do this voluntarily. Like it's like teaching people magic tricks. So I've been doing this for almost 20 years. Educationally, I have a master's degree in something called instructional technologies. So it was not my initial chosen career. I started off as a psychology major. I got another master's degree in organizational psychology. Didn't take. It's like, you know what? I need to be training people, and more specifically in technology and software, because it is just so fun. And, just kind of making people's lives easier, making their jobs easier, making them get ahead with whatever they need to do career wise. So yeah, I'm psyched. And
Well, I'm very
yeah,
happy to have you on the channel, because that is what our channel is here to do, is to create these office skills available for everybody. So everyone has a equal footing on getting those office jobs. And again, guys, just a heads up, we do these classes live for Fortune 500 companies, and just all the biggest names. We've done classes for them. We can't name drop them, because obviously we'd have to get clearance from them, but we've done tons of trainings, and we're always training office professionals. So if you watch these video series and like that, you can improve your own productivity at work, or if you're looking for a job or anything like that, these are the skills that employers are looking for. They're looking for you to be at this level. So that's where you can watch more videos on our channel to get there. We have a little bit of time. Let's see. Let me see. From Dibia, nice presentation. Kindly conduct at regular interval frequently. We do this show every week, Dibia. So we have different guests and everything like that. Google form asking the topic participants like you to present. That's a little bit more difficult because it involves screen sharing. We would have to invite everyone into our OBS, and the OBSs only have a limited amount of space. As much as I would love to do that, they only give you about 5 to 10 seats. So we want to be able to fit that many, like all the participants that would be joining on through the live stream. So unfortunately we wouldn't be able to do that, but we will for Google Forms, I'll definitely look for a guest to have on for Google Forms. And maybe I could have David come on for Google Forms, because he does know
sure,
Google.
absolutely, would love to be back.
Yeah. So let's see if there's any other Google Sheets. Include Google Sheets apart from Excel. We could do that too. That's definitely something we could look at. I know Google Sheets is definitely coming up as the big rival to Excel, and lots more people are asking about it. We do have the whole suite on in queue to be produced, so you'll be seeing those videos come up as well. We have a couple of them already on our channel, so they are there, but we will be doing some updates to some of those videos as well. So those will be training videos on our channel, so you can look for those there. And yeah, I think that actually would be a great class, actually, Google Sheets versus Excel. And maybe also something that maybe as a show that we could do is like, what are the key differences and everything like that, and we're not going to choose either one and say either one is better. Whatever your work environment is like, that's going to be best for them. All right. Well, we're almost out of time, so I'm just going to wrap this up real quick. Again, next week we have Brian Lanier. I also want to thank David for being here today. And again, if you guys want to see more training videos, more demo sessions like this, and us bringing on more instructors, please like and subscribe, leave comments. It all adds up. It really helps a lot. Again, I always say this at the end of a show. Like when I used to watch videos and I saw someone say that, like I didn't really think much into it, but now that I'm on the other side of it, it really does make tremendous differences when you just click that subscribe button or that like button, or even just leave a comment. It really helps us out tremendously. So and then, well, sorry, Andres, we don't have time to get your question about tips on Power Query, but you can go to Offsite. It's Offsite. Offsite at learnit.com. I've dropped the link in 1,000 times. It's actually it should be in the video description as well. You can go to Offsite there, join the Excel topic or one of the Microsoft Office 365 topics, and you can ask your question there, and it'll be answered within 2 business days by one of our instructors as well. So you can go and join Offsite. Again, that's our Offsite community, where you can ask these types of questions, and where we try to get to everything that we can't get to here as well. All right. And yeah, so with that, I'm going to wish everyone a good weekend. And again, thanks, David, for being here today.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. And thank you, Ben. This has been lots of fun, and we'll see you